Today, let's talk about IHE Infrastructure Profiles. The active profiles are PDI, Portable Data for Imaging, XDSIB, Cross-Enterprise Document Sharing for Imaging, TCE, Teaching File and Clinical Trial Export, ARI, Access to Radiology Information, Aetna, Audit Trail and Node Authentication, with the radiology option, of course, CHG, Charge Posting, XCAI, Cross-Community Access for imaging, and IOCM, Imaging Object Change Management. The trial profiles are XDRI, Cross-Enterprise Reliable Document Interchange for Imaging, and IID, Invoke Image Display. And I want to talk about X for a minute. X. Anytime something is cross something, if it's cross-community, cross-enterprise, and I always put an X on it. So anytime you see X, you know it's cross-enterprise. What's the difference between cross-community and cross-enterprise? Any ideas? Well, let me tell you. Cross-enterprise is across an enterprise. So let's take UPMC, for example. There's UPMC Carlisle, there's UPMC Lidditz, there's UPMC Lancaster. They're in different places. They're in physical different locations, different towns, but they are all one big enterprise. So if you're sharing documents related to imaging, reports, tech notes, things like that across an enterprise, so you go, as a patient, you go from UPMC Carlisle to UPMC Lidditz, they would use XDSIB to share your documents across that enterprise. Cross-community is if you live in Philadelphia and you go to Pittsburgh for imaging test, or you move there, that is cross-community access for imaging, right? So an enterprise is one large healthcare enterprise, but it's all the same family, if you will. Cross-community is literally across different towns and cities where you have different enterprises involved. Okay, so let's dig into these profiles. PDI, Portable Data for Imaging. Portable Data for Imaging provides reliable interchange of image data and diagnostic reports on CDs, DVDs, and USBs for importing, printing, or optimally displaying in a browser. This is the profile that should go on all of the CDs that is sent with patients as they move from one place to another. So I'm not going to read you all the different systems involved. I'll let that just stay up for a minute or two so you can copy that, and I will remember to post this PowerPoint on D2L so you can have it to take notes from. In order to keep this to a manageable size, I can't possibly read all the information on the slides, otherwise this would be a 30-minute video and you'd fall asleep after 10. So the benefits to PDI is it reduces errors and enhances patient care, it reduces operational costs, it improves data accessibility, it increases throughput. What it really does is, if everybody uses the PDI profile, then there's a very good chance that if you take a CD from UPMC and you take it to Tower Health, that CD will work in both places. So here is the picture of how PDI should be used, and you can see it has images and reports, and you can send it to the printer, and you can do all kinds of things with PDI. Cross-enterprise document sharing for imaging. XDSIB is an interoperability profile that extends XDS to share images, diagnostic reports, and related information across a group of care sites. So this is basically, there's a different profile called XDS, which is cross-enterprise document sharing. Right? So it just takes XDS and makes it specific to imaging. So it's just XDS for imaging, or XDSIB. That's just a way to share documents around your enterprise. Benefits are imaging component of the electronic health record, effective means to contribute and access imaging documents across health enterprises, scalable sharing of imaging documents, and easy access to imaging documents. Again, it just makes all your imaging documents across your whole enterprise work together. Here's the picture portion of that. You have Radiology Enterprise B, and they can send prior imaging reports to the physician's office. It can query the cross-enterprise registry. You have Radiology Enterprise A, and also it can send, and it all works together through XDSIB. Teaching File and Clinical Trial Export, TCE, lets users flag images and related information for automatic routing to teaching file, authoring, or clinical trials management systems. So Teaching. There's a lot of research studies that goes on. You have residents that are required to create and maintain teaching files. And, a lot of experienced practitioners keep files of interesting cases for their own reference and to share with colleagues. Participation in clinical trials is a growing need and both a potential source of revenue and a driver of quality improvement. In order to accomplish these tasks efficiently, a user must be able to flag appropriate images and add supplemental information and anonymize imaging studies, particularly in research trials. So this profile helps users do that. The benefits enables radiologists working at diagnostic workstation to select, annotate, and export images to a teaching file system or a clinical trials repository. Enables selecting key images. Enables efficient teaching file creation and clinical trial participation without significant disruption to the normal workflow. There are several benefits. I'm not going to read the last one because I just don't want to. And so here's the picture. The study comes in. The technologist or the radiologist working at workstation can then export that study out to the teaching file repository. ARI, access to radiology information. It shares images, diagnostic reports, and related information inside a single network. Again, this is not across an enterprise. This is inside your building, one network. So review or diagnostic image soft copy display station, standalone or integrated with HIS, RIS, PACS, or modality. Query and retrieve DICOM images and presentation states for display. Reporting stations, image management and archive systems, which is basically the PACS, and report repositories such as the HIS or the RIS. All of these will work together, and this is how you give access to radiology information. So nurses need access to radiology information. Doctors obviously need access to radiology information. The people that work in the cafeteria, do they need access to radiology information? No. So you wouldn't use the ARI profile to give them access. You just want them to make cheeseburgers and fries. That's all they really need to do. Benefits: reduce errors to enhance patient care, improve throughput, improve data accessibility. Benefits continued. It reduces deployment cost time. A lot of these profiles and benefits have redundancy in them. So you'll see these same benefits, reduce deployment cost and time over and over and over in different profiles. So here you have access to radiology information, and you can use that profile to give access from radiology to the oncologists, to the cardiologists, to the pathologists, or surgeons. So those are different groups of physicians that will want access to radiology images as part of their job. ARI helps you create those profiles. Audit trail and node authentication. Aetna, one of my favorite profiles, and perhaps my favorite infrastructure profile. The radiology option for audit trail and node authentication specifies basic security measures for protecting patient confidentiality and ensuring traceability in the imaging environment. Systems involved in this profile are the ADT systems, the modalities, the image manager and image archive, and the reporting workstations. So the benefits is user identification. Users have to be identified in order to gain access to the system. They have to put in a password, and that will identify who they are, and then you can track what they do. Right? So you have authentication access controls, and you have an audit trail. This is a requirement by HIPAA law. You must have logs of what people do in your system, and upon request you must turn those over to the federal government. So the best way to do that is to follow the audit trail and node authentication profile. It lays out exactly what you need to do to meet all the government requirements, to meet the HIPAA law, and so you can have protected health information and stay compliant with the law. So here's an example of a login with security certificates provided, identity is confirmed during connection, the IHE transactions are monitored, and anything that fails or shouldn't happen goes into an audit repository. Charge posting, CHG, collects and posts timely billable claims, including both radiology and eye care procedures. So charge posting applies in both the radiology domain and the eye care domain. Basically, it's just a profile that helps you keep track of your charges and make sure you're doing them correctly and you can bill correctly. Because at the end of the day, we want to bill for all the work we do. We're not in the business of doing charitable work and giving away x-rays for free. We want to get paid. So the main benefit is that performed procedures can be billed for in a timely and accurate manner. This is a really complex slide involving the entire billing cycle. The billing cycle doesn't show up on your certification exam, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through this. If you want to sit here and review the exact billing cycle and you gravitate towards charges and charge masters and things like that, if that's your thing, dig into this slide, have a good time. I'll answer any questions you have, and groovy. So, cross-community access for imaging, XCAI. Cross-community access for imaging supports the means to query and retrieve patient-relevant medical imaging data held by other communities. So it could be in the PACS, it could be in the EMR, it can be in IHE, a health information exchange, an image exchange system, or a VNA. Those are the systems involved. The benefit is, hey, image access between communities. Sometimes it's just that simple. This is another really complicated document involving the initiating community and the responding community and how all these different processes work together. We're not going to dig too deep into this. I'm not going to be asking you complicated questions about Query 18 and ITI 43. These are over here, by the way. So just understand what this picture is about. Imaging Object Change Management. IOCM specifies how one actor communicates local changes applied on existing imaging objects to other actors that manage copies of the modified imaging objects in their own local systems. What that really means is if you send the image to the radiologist and he draws a big arrow or uses the text tool to write, right here is the cancer with an arrow drawn to it, you want that change, that object change, to be copied forward. Right? You want the ER physician to see the arrow and the note. You want the technologist, the next time that patient comes in for a follow-up study, to be able to see the arrow and note. You don't want just the radiologist workstation to only show the arrow and the note. You want everybody to see it. So that's what imaging object change management is about. It specifies how one actor communicates local changes made on one workstation by one person and applied to an existing imaging object so that all the other actors manage copies of the modified imaging object, so that they all copy that change forward. That's what IOCM is all about. So you have all these different systems involved in IOCM. You have the acquisition modalities, the RIS, the PACS, the reporting workstation, the post-processing workstation, imports that import outside studies, and exports that export studies. Again, you want all of those annotations and arrows and cool things to travel with the image wherever it goes. Here are the benefits. The benefit is just basically that everybody sees the same notes and the same markups on the image. Here is another complicated document about how a change requester makes a change to the image and where it goes and the whole path it follows so that everybody gets the same image with the same markups. The trial profiles are cross-enterprise reliable document interchange for imaging, which extends XDR to push images, diagnostic reports, and related information between healthcare providers, and Invoke Images Display allows an EHR/PHR risk to request a PACS to display images of a patient study. Those are in trial, so just know that those are the two trial profiles that are still being worked on, and they haven't been made active yet. Wow, this is like over 13 minutes, and I was talking really fast. Sorry about that. You may have to play me back a couple of times, but thank you for watching, and hopefully you were able to stay awake for the whole show.